See, there is one more formula for moment of inertia. One is summation of mi r square. The second formula is integration of r square dm. Now, what is this term integration of r square dm? Suppose the mass is uniformly distributed about the axis of rotation, okay, and the distribution of mass is integrable, okay. Now in 12th standard you will understand the concept of integration, okay. It's a type of summation. If the distribution of mass is uniform and if it is integrable, then we can use this formula for finding moment of inertia, that is integration of r square dm. R is the distance from the axis of rotation and dm is a small element which is considered, okay. Now moment of inertia depends on which factors, okay. For any body, moment of inertia, first it depends on the individual masses, all the particles which are there, what are the masses of the particles, okay, individual masses. And second, the distribution of masses about the axis of rotation. These two factors determine the moment of inertia of a rotating body. Now here I have taken the same examples which I explained you orally. This is a uniform rod and this is the axis of rotation passing through the center of the rod. In this case, the moment of inertia will be very less, okay, because the distribution of mass is uniform and it is equal distance from the axis of rotation. But suppose in this case I have passed the axis of rotation through point B, and as a result the mass is distributed away from the axis of rotation. In this case the moment of inertia will be very high, okay, it will be a very large value. So these are good examples to understand the moment of inertia, how it depends on individual masses and distribution of mass about the axis of rotation. Also, let us now talk about the moment of inertia of a ring, okay. Now how we define a ring, okay, uniform ring. If the mass is uniformly distributed about the circumference of an object, if the mass is uniformly distributed over the circumference of an object, that particular object will be called as ring. Here this is the axis of rotation, this is a ring, okay, and this is the axis of rotation passing through the center of the ring, and what I have shown here are the radii. All the three are. Now when the axis of rotation is perpendicular to the plane of the ring, when the axis of rotation is perpendicular to the plane of the ring, the moment of inertia of the ring is given by formula mr square. M stands for the mass of the ring and r is the radius of the ring. So it's a very simple formula, we can easily understand and remember, mi equal to mr square, okay. That is the moment of inertia of uniform ring, and which will be used a number of times, and it is linked with a number of other formulas. So remember this, a simple formula mr square. Let us now start with a derivation, okay. We are deriving the expression for kinetic energy of a rotating body. See, the first thing I will tell you is we will use this particular relation V equal to r omega in this derivation. Now what is this V equal to r omega? V is the linear velocity, r is the radius, and omega is the angular velocity. This formula gives you relation between linear velocity and angular velocity, okay. Now coming to the derivation, I got a rigid body, okay, which is rotating with a uniform angular velocity, omega. Omega stands for what? Uniform angular velocity. There are n number of particles in this body, okay, which is rotating about the axis of rotation. There are n number of particles of masses what? m1, m2 up to mn, and which are at distance r1, r2 up to rn from the axis of rotation. Also, I consider v1, v2, v3 up to vn be the linear velocities at these particular points. Like for m1 linear velocity is v1, for m2, okay, for m2 the linear velocity is what? v2, for m3 the linear velocity is v3, okay. Now let us consider one particle m1. Okay, for particle of mass m1. Okay, see, linear velocity is v1, and v1 can be written as r1 into omega. Is it right? r1 stands for the distance from the axis of rotation and omega is the angular velocity. In that case, the kinetic energy of m1 can be written as half m1 v1 square, right? Or instead of v1, I'll write r1 omega. So half m1 r1 square omega square. Is it right? On the same basis, I can write kinetic energy of particle of mass m2, and it will come out to be half m2 r2 square omega square. I have simply substituted the value of v1 as r1 omega here, and here v2 is put as r2 omega. And finally, the kinetic energy for nth particle mn, okay, will be half mn rn square omega square. Are you understanding these concepts? Okay, I have found kinetic energy of particle of mass m1. It came out to be half m1 v1 square. Instead of v1, I wrote r1 omega, so I get half m1 r1 square omega square. Kinetic energy of mass m2 will be half m2 r2 square omega square, and kinetic energy of mass mn will be half mn rn square omega square. Okay, moving further, if I want to find the total kinetic energy of this whole body, what I will do, I will take the kinetic energies of each individual particle, right? Total kinetic energy will be Ke1 plus Ke2 up to Ke(n), or simply half m1 r1 square omega square plus half m2 r2 square omega square up to half mn rn square omega square. Is it right? Now look carefully. One term is common. Two terms, half and omega square. So how will I write this? Half into bracket, I'll write m1 r1 square plus m2 r2 square up to mn rn square, right? Now this is actually summation, and so I'll write half summation m I r I square, I starting from 1 to n, and this equation is nothing, this formula is nothing but the formula for moment of inertia. So finally how will I write? Half I omega square. What I got, what I obtained is nothing but the kinetic energy of the rotating body. For a body in translation motion, kinetic energy comes out to be half mv square, and in rotation motion it will come out to be half I omega square. In this way we derive the expression for kinetic energy of a rotating body. Now let us derive an expression for angular momentum. Okay, this topic is I think 1.8.1 in your textbook. Now we all know what is linear momentum. Linear momentum is a product of mass and velocity. Now let us derive the expression for angular momentum. See, there is a body, rigid body, rotating about an axis passing through point O. Okay, there are n number of particles of masses m1, m2 up to mn. Okay, at distances r1, r2 up to rn from the axis of rotation. Now each and every particle is having its own velocity. Which velocity? Linear velocity. v1, v2, v3 up to vn. One more thing, this body is rotating with a uniform angular velocity omega. Don't forget that. The body is rotating with a uniform angular velocity omega. Okay. In that condition, each particle will have a linear velocity given by v1 equal to r1 omega, v2 equal to r2 omega, and similarly vn equal to rn into omega. Is it correct? No doubts here. I have found linear velocity of each individual particle. It is r1 omega, r2 omega, and for nth particle it is rn omega. Now that particle of mass m having velocity v will definitely have a linear momentum. The linear momentum for particle 1 can be easily written as p1 equal to m1 v1, which is nothing but m1 r1 omega. And similarly for p2 I'll write m2 v2, and that is m2 r2 omega. And for the nth particle I'll write pn equal to mn vn, that is mn rn omega. So these are the linear momentums of each individual particles, p1, p2 up to pn. Now how to find angular momentum? Okay, angular momentum is nothing but the moment of linear momentum. What? The moment of linear momentum. Angular momentum is given by general formula L equal to R into P. L equal to R into L is a symbol of angular momentum. So for particle 1, the angular momentum L1 will be written as R1 into P1. For particle 2, it will be L2 will be equal to R2 into P2, and for nth particle Ln will be Rn into Pn. But we already know the values of P1, P2 up to Pn. Let us put the values in this equation. It will come out M1 R1 square omega. This will come out M2 R2 square omega, and this will come out Mn Rn square omega. Okay, these will be the angular momentum of each particle. Okay, L1, L2 up to Ln. Now we want to find the expression for total angular momentum. The total angular momentum will be the sum of angular momentums of each individual particle, and that will come out to be what? L1 plus L2 up to Ln, that is M1 R1 square omega plus M2 R2 square omega up to Mn Rn square omega. Here the omega term is common, and into bracket I'll write all these terms, M1 R1 square up to Mn Rn square. That can be written as summation Mi Ri square, I starting from 1 to n, into omega. But this term which you see is the term for moment of inertia, and that's why our equation turns out to be L equal to I into omega. This is the expression for angular momentum of a rotating object or rotating body. Okay, hope it's very clear and very simple derivation. Okay, only thing, remember 3 formulas. First formula, V equal to R omega. Second formula is of momentum. Momentum is mass into velocity. And the third formula is this, angular momentum is R into P. This completes our derivation.